Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the Inside the Glitch Pod with your boy, Robin. If you are new here and you have not heard my voice before, my name is Robin, spelled Rxbyn. Yes, I'm an independent artist, singer, songwriter, engineer, producer, photographer, videographer, whatever you want to call me. I do many different things, all to create and facilitate the creation of this world and vision that I am currently living. In this podcast here, we dive deep into the behind the scenes of my most recent album, Soul Glitch, which was released back in September 22nd, 2024. It is a experimental concept album to me that really just kind of explains my depression from the view of a robot character named Robot, spelled RXBOT. If you'd like, you can go back to the previous episodes and get a little bit more into the in-depth into the story and the thought process behind, how I wrote it and all that stuff. But in these episodes, we are diving deep into how each song was made and giving you journal questions that coincide with the themes and ideas of each of these songs to help you kind of unpack and uncover the hidden themes and shadows of yourself in these aspects, especially for songs and things that you are drawn to. Also, forgive me if you are hearing or seeing, you can't see anything. Forgive me if you're hearing any noise in the background. I do have my cats running around. They're not mine, they're like my best friends, but I do have my cats running around. He was on me a minute ago like he was mine, so shit. But anyways, yes, in the last episode, we broke down the first 5 songs. In this episode, we're going to break down the next 5. I'm trying to be more mindful. I don't know. If you haven't caught on to in the last episode, I said it as well, episode 4, but we are now in 2025. I took a break for a bit from recording these to kind of get a better handle on how I wanted them to be. The first 3 episodes are very much a sci-fi-esque feeling type of bedtime podcast. Really, I was really just more talking. I wanted it to feel very calming, very ASMR, very soothing, while still explaining the album and the world in a very cohesive or as cohesive as I can make it, and clear way, as clear as I can make it. So now, oh, Lizzie, she's so sweet, my girl. Anyway, I don't know where I left off, but basically we're going to go ahead and break down the songs, the next 5 tracks on the album. Today is currently, it's a rainy Thursday in January. And right now it's not currently raining, but it's cloudy outside. It was raining as I woke up. So the vibe today is very chill. Okay, I've got my water here. I'm actually sitting here on the couch with my blanket and my pillow and my phone right here on the charger. I've got my journal and my pen here as well, so I can write down anything. I also have it's really actually on a checklist, so I can make sure I go over everything. But yes, I'm going to be writing down and checking off certain things, and I want you guys to join me. This is going to be I want this to be more of an interactive kind of thing where you leave here with the tools to, really think more in depth about the things that strike you. If you are somebody who is already listening to this, I want to first say thank you. I'm extremely grateful. I know that when I was first conceptualizing a lot of this, both the album and this podcast in general, I wasn't sure at all what the point was, what it was going to do, who it was going to touch, where it was going to land. And then I decided to let go and just not give a fuck. Sorry. I'm trying not to curse, but I'm also in this state in my life where I'm learning to take up space as I am. So grace, guys, give yourselves grace. That's another thing too. As we do this, if anything comes up as you're journaling or as you're hearing me talk, that makes you want to ask yourself something or that strikes a nerve, don't be afraid to like dive deeper into that even without my guidance, because that's what I always try to do. And a lot of the growth I've experienced over the last 6 months to a year plus even, but specifically the last year or so, it's been because I've been actively trying to address any and everything that makes me uncomfortable. It's not easy, I promise, and not everything I do right then and there, of course, but I mean most of it. I tend to be an impatient, not an impatient person. I have patience with certain things, my art, my craft, people I love, for the most part, to a degree. I'm trying to be better about that, but like with myself and like how fast I can see results on something, I tend to be on the hastier side. So I urge you to take your time. Nothing is supposed to happen overnight, and the things that are will. So know that and find comfort in that if you can. And yeah, like I said, just don't be afraid to dive deep into this stuff. Yes. The first track we're going to go over is track 6. Track 6 is No Offense, featuring my brother, my best friend, Solid SLW. If you know me, if you know any of the Rxbyn lore, which I'm not even gonna lie, is probably kind of hard to pick up on or like gather. We're gonna get more in depth on that stuff as I talk, whether it's on this podcast or something else. Hint, hint, wink, wink. We're going to definitely open you guys up to the Rxbyn world, because there's so much more behind the scenes that I think you'd benefit from knowing, especially in context with the music. I'm realizing as I want to talk about this stuff through the podcast, there are certain things that I do have to kind of disclose for it to make sense and for the healing journey of this to be authentic and well mapped out for you guys. I need y'all to know certain things. That way it's easier for you to understand that you can do and can be certain things, certain ways, and still find your path, still find your purpose, your whatever you need. So yeah, all of that being said, No Offense is one of my favorite tracks on the record. I'm gonna say that a lot. I think I say it all the time, but you know, hell, until somebody clocks me on it, or until I have the ability to like truly pick a single favorite, you're gonna hear that a lot. No Offense was a song written for my friend Solid. In 2019, I remember when I was shaping the beginning, the majority of the record, instrumentally and, you know, like sonically, the demos at least, I had just met that year a group of great friends that really did change my life, if I'm being completely honest. A lot of you know my good friend Peach. He's on the first album. He is an amazing dude that I was already friends with, of course, but he and I started going to open mics after Brandon Talley on Virus, if you know. He was throwing shows at one of the local bars. Dope dude. So I was very excited when Peach had urged him to reach out, I think is what happened. I think he had mentioned it to me, but Brandon I don't know if I messaged Brandon or Brandon messaged me or something happened like that, but we got in touch. I got the tickets, it was a thing, and yeah, you know, so because of that, we started going to open mics after meeting one of the guys that was throwing, or that would DJ, or that was going to be DJing the show, but also like was an artist of his own. He was like, you guys should come. I do open mics on these days, like, or I think it was like every Sunday, or I don't remember, but excuse me. He and some of the other dudes would practice every Sunday. I think that's what would happen. They would practice every Sunday, a couple months out into their shows, and I thought that was so cool. So they invited us to be a part of that since we were on the lineup, which they did not have to do. Very, very awesome. So me and Peach were ecstatic. But then we also had they also had the open mics. I think those would happen like maybe Thursdays or something like that. And yeah, I mean, those are cool. It was a different scene when we went. I saw so many young people like around our age that really weren't even, I had never heard of. So much. There's, guys, really, if I've learned anything throughout my career and my life, it's that there is always talent out there that you cannot see. Like, as somebody who has done everything on his own for the majority of his career, which is hence why I embrace collaboration now in this portion of my career. I have always longed to work with people, to have a family. And you know what? I think that comes out a lot when I think about how I had a fake band when I was a child, like things like that. I wanted so badly to be a Paramore, to be a Three Doors Down, to be a Katawata. Like, there are so many bands that I looked up to, that I enjoyed, that I was like, but I think it was more so the camaraderie of the band. It was more so that when they were performing and I'm watching them on stage, that they could feed off of each other and nobody felt alone. Because it's scary to perform. It's scary to put your soul out there and to bear all that you have, lyrically, physically, emotionally, whatever that may be, mentally. It's scary to do that. And I know that there's a lot of people who probably do get that, but there's a lot of people who probably don't know what that's like. It's rare when you can find people who complement that and understand that and do it themselves in their own way or in the same way as you, even whatever. It's a beautiful thing. So I urge you, if you are someone who is, even if you're somebody who hasn't had the best luck with collaboration, maybe I urge you to write down the things that were a problem for you, things that came up that were not conducive to your work, your art. Take note of those things. Note any patterns, any things that felt the same. And I urge you to reassess and reframe how you look at collaboration. Come at it from a different perspective. Why couldn't I say that? That was really funny. What songs represent my love? Look at Taylor. I love Taylor so much. That's a good question. How do I know that? Anyways, you know what? Let me ask y'all that. What songs represent your love language? Okay, now that's a separate kind of topic, so you can write that down for later on journaling if you are looking to kind of explore maybe your love style and how you communicate in your relationships, both platonic and romantic. But yeah, back to what I was talking about. Thank you, Taylor, for that. What was I saying? Yeah, one thing about me, guys, I'm forgetful. So forgive me as I scatterbrain my way through this. Anyways, let's get back to the story. So I had met these awesome guys right before the show. And one of the awesome guys that I had met was Solid. Solid, I don't know. It's just really crazy to me how you meet the people that change your life. It's think about it. If you have anybody in your life that you hold dear, that you are like, man, I don't know how the hell we met, but did I need you? If you have anybody like that, I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, maybe not the whole time, you probably were a circumstance away from that not happening. Like maybe you weren't gonna go out that night, or maybe you don't even like fucking pizza, but you just happen to be at a pizza shop for supporting a friend. Like whatever the case may be. Like I just look at how you meet these people. If you weren't already born into family with them, or if you weren't already put in situations with them, it will baffle you. Because for me, I know it does. When I think about it, it's so beautiful. But anyways, I had gone to this open mic, the very first one, with Peach, and we were there drinking, we're listening, we're at the bar, and I remember specifically sitting, the way the bar was, they just didn't really have too many more seats at individual tables facing the stage. So I remember I was sitting with my back to the stage, and I had to turn my neck to look, and I didn't want to do that for long periods of time, so I ended up essentially just trying to rest my neck in between sets. So at this point, I'm resting my neck when I hear this, I want to say adorable, but I feel like I shouldn't say that about him because he's a grown man. But he's adorable. I love him so much. Solid is one of my favorite people. Just know that. Family for real. That's family for real. But I hear this adorable voice, and he's so soft-spoken in his, it's not, I wouldn't say soft-spoken, but he's so he's just softer in his regular demeanor in terms of how approachable he can be. when you're meeting him, it's so crazy. So he's on stage, he's like, "Hey, I'm Solid, and I make music, and I do this. Now you can find me on SoundCloud, and da 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 da." I'm like, "Oh, you know." But it wasn't until, I think he was also the last person to perform. Let me also make that a thing. So he blew us all out of the water. Not even gonna hold you. How humble. But anyways, I'm saying that because, like, not because he went last, but he was very humble. Like, the thing about Solid that makes him great is he doesn't, well, now he definitely should know because I tell him all the time. But he didn't know when I was first meeting him, it felt like how great he was. And I'm like, that's crazy to me because the way he made my neck turn, like that music came on and everybody else, because we're all amateurs, right? We're singing and rapping, including me, over their vocals, because though I had studied the Beyoncés and all the pop stars that perform in today's modern age, the vocalists, the Tori Kellys and stuff, like, because I watched them, I know to do that, but I wasn't confident in my skill or ability. I was not. And I guess you could say it was my first album under this name. And I was only 22 at the time. I was coming into my own, and the majority of that album was made at 20 and 21. So the vocal things I was trying, I was really still growing. I wasn't like going through puberty, but you know what I mean? There isn't such a strong... It's crazy how I'm using Beyonce because I feel like she's come up a lot lately for me, but yeah, you listen to Beyonce when she's singing at 20, when performing at 20 anything, 21, 22, versus when she's performing now at fucking 40. The depth and the fullness that comes to your voice, along with the knowledge and control and capabilities, experience, with maturity, is really, really, it's fucking great. It's so crazy. I do things now with my voice as I'm singing my own songs, other people's songs, when I'm riffing that aren't, hold on, let me clear it up. It's not great sometimes. Sometimes I try shit and it don't work. It don't land, right? That's what you sing in private for, and it's what you practice for. But then there are times when I'm doing things and I surprise myself. I do shit on accident. I do shit and I'm like, ooh, what if I took that further? And I'm able to, to clarify, and I don't want to make this too long, but fuck it, guys, we're here. This is a conversation, so we're here. This is like hanging out with your boy Robin. And we're still talking about the album, I promise. But when you are, for anybody who is teaching themselves to sing or who felt as though they had to develop that talent or any talent in the dark without professional help, because I was not classically trained. I did not take choir in high school or middle school or anything like that. I had a piano class in 8th grade. And I think in my sophomore year of high school. But that was more so because like I liked piano and that was a cool extracurricular. Like I wasn't really looking to learn it, if I'm being honest. I took those classes looking to be able to exercise my own curiosity in them. So like they would give us things to play. I followed the rules because I can follow rules. But in the free time, I'm playing Twilight's Bella's Lullaby, and I'm playing Decode by Paramore on piano, Dearly Beloved by Yoko Shimomura. Like I would just play my own stuff. I was so, God, it sounds bad, but I was very self-interested. But I tried to use it responsibly. Like I was just trying to grow, right? Hence why I play by ear. But they were trying to teach me how to read music. So my grandma gets on me about that to this day. And I can read it, I'm just slow at it, right? I probably can't read you through Beethoven's sonata. That's just not happening. But I can tell you basic notes and scales and stuff. And you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, if I polish up now here and at 20, almost 28, I'll be 28 in a couple of weeks. Oh, it's 11/11, guys. It's 11/11, Make-A-Wish. I could probably learn to really read fully. But when you're a kid, your mind's elsewhere. But anyway, it's not the point. Yeah, when you're teaching yourself to sing or do any instrument, just give yourself grace and understand that your best friend literally is time and putting in the hours. It is extremely possible. When people tell me they can't sing, I'm actually a big proponent on you can. You probably don't think you can. It's all about how to use your voice. Everybody has a tone. Everybody has a voice. I used to get mad because I listened to Tori Kelly. I listened to Beyonce. I listened to Ariana Grande. I listened to like girl groups like Flo. I listened to the R&B singers like Brandy, Monica. I listen to Jasmine Sullivan. These are all females, but that's what I do. I like feminine R&B, if I'm being honest with you, feminine R&B pop. But even further than that, when I'm listening to male songs, I like vocals. I love Josh Levi, a vocalist. I'm obsessed with Lucky Day, a vocalist. I am always impressed by just a lot of different artists and vocal talent. But because it's very those are like a level of singing that is complex, I guess you can say. Not like you can't sing those songs, right? A lot of it is pop music, maybe not Beyonce or like Tori Kelly, they're pushing vocal there. But Ariana Grande doesn't make her songs extremely difficult vocally. She pushes herself and her air where she knows to be comfortable, and she saves all that for live performance and stuff, right? Most great artists do. But it's the way in which they use their voices to do the simplest of things. It's the way that you trill your voice before you hit that run going down. It's the way you hit it going down, going back up, but slowing it down when you come up that half step. There's just certain things I really do admire. But as somebody who would listen to those things, I would get frustrated with my own voice for not sounding that way, for not being buttery smooth, for me not having the air to sustain, a run for an entire 30 seconds, right? I now, at almost 28, can truly say that I'm more comfortable than I've ever been in my own voice because it doesn't sound like anybody else. Because I'm now aware that that's the appeal. To be honest with you, it's a very jarring thing because I don't know what the music sounds like after this. I have been recording demos that lean everywhere except for like hard metal rock. And even then, I'm wanting to do that. Like, why not? I'm wanting, and funk. I don't have any funk or disco tracks yet, but like, oh God, we're not far. We are not far. I love a good bass line. I'm wanting to push the bounds of my artistry because of the ways in which I've accepted my voice to be versatile in its own way. So, when you are teaching yourself to sing, to write, to dance, to play an instrument, to love yourself, to have courage, to do whatever you want to do, be patient. Be patient and do not compare. That's probably the best advice I can give you. And you know what's funny? No offense is the song we're still talking about. Yeah, that, hello. No Offense is kind of about that. It's a call to action not call to action. It's really just a voicing of opinion on how I feel about the ways in which people judge me. And you know what? As I wrote that song all those years ago, I always write my songs, especially on this record, I write the lyrics as I make the beat a lot of the time. Even if I don't finish the lyrics right then and there, they start off like that. So that way it's cohesive in that way. And when I was making that, because I knew I wanted to have Solid in mind, we had a song, or we already had Spiral, but Spiral felt so sad. And I already had Spiral and just threw him on there as a feature. So I wanted something that felt more collaborative or like more upbeat, more modern. And I'm really glad I did it. It's one of my favorite songs on the record, for real. But yeah, it's just essentially, I don't even know who I'm talking to. I just remember writing it, and I guess Robot's character would be speaking to any and everybody that'd be looking at him for being different, for having these hard emotions, these strong emotions, when everyone else is clearly programmed to be otherwise. It's kind of like you shouldn't be, that way. Gosh, and I guess that rings true. I guess, you know what, we're unpacking it here. I guess I could have been talking to society or my version of societal standards or something, because I've experienced that in many ways, being a young Black gay male. Not that that's the most ostracized or worst thing in the world to be, but I have experienced people looking at me with such curiosity, like they can't understand what makes me, like why I think the way that I think, or what makes me do the things that I do. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I don't know what the fuck makes me do what I do, but I'm usually talking about my personal decisions and shit. They don't know those things about me. These are people who judge me based off of the way that I look, or the music that I make, or what they don't know that I make. I've had people who see me or know me as a specific thing, Jacory, right, in my personal life. And when I present as Robin, or when they first see my website or YouTube or a music video or anything like that, it's like a shock to the system. And that to me surprises me, because I've always thought that I carried Robin with me. But if I'm honest, I'm just now becoming aware maybe I don't. And maybe that's why I do have multiple aliases and names that I go by. Not so much because I want to hide or be different, or have, different people that I'm being with different people in my life. It's just the natural ebb and flow of who I am for the people around me. Most of the people that call me Robin, I feel I'm able to exude a specific type of resilience that I literally can only channel sometimes through Robin. And then when I'm Jacory in my everyday life, a lot of the time that's family, that's, work, coworkers and stuff like that. I am forced to ground myself and remind myself in the ways in which I'm vulnerable, the ways in which I am human, and that I don't always have it figured out, the ways that I can't draw up a fucking music video plan and a budget plan and execute it over the course of a few months. That's not how you do some things, right? Everything can't be planned out and conceptualized. Some things have to be felt and experienced. So that's what No Offense is. No Offense is just me acknowledging that I don't like the way that I get treated sometimes. And I think that it's okay to voice that. Sure, I'm different. Sure, I'm not perfect. And I'll be the first to admit that. It's really, I guess, my way of giving myself permission to be imperfect. As somebody who I used to feed and thrive on perfection. I just don't anymore. I'm very aware that it has never helped me. Even when I thought it did, don't get me wrong, because I thought it did. It really wasn't. It was a cool guide for the art that I made, right? And the structure and foundation that I've now built today. But a lot of the things that have made what I've built today great was the imperfection of my past efforts, the mistakes, So, maybe it's different for you, and I kind of hope so, but I literally do have to. I'm somebody who has to embrace the process. But anyways, we recorded No Offense in January of 2020. And what's ironic is the pandemic had happened right after that. But we were already kind of feeling that way. It was very weird, the energy. People were very sick in December. But I remember Solid came over. He and I used to spend the night in the studio. And this one day, I actually remember we had another buddy of ours that was there. And he was so cool, just minded his business. I don't even know what he did. I think I was taking pictures. I literally still have the cover photo of my It's a Mood album, It's a Mood playlist on Spotify and Apple Music. It's like a pink or like a neon hot pink photo of me sitting on a couch. Yeah, I was taking photos like that in the studio while Solid was recording himself in the booth. Laying down his whole verse. And, he doesn't even remember doing it, but he gave me gold. I was so pleased. He gave me gold, man. And he does that. He is somebody that writes. He can write you a hit in hit hook in 5 minutes, if that bit. Whole song, 5 minutes. And even, it's better when he takes his time. But he can do that. A lot of his best stuff has just come straight out of him. Like, I don't know. It's like he channels something that's just way above him. He really was a great addition to Soul Glitch. He represents everything about it. His essence, him not knowing how great he was, him not understanding or not seeing the ways in which he has helped me grow. I tell Solid all the time, like, I literally would not have put this album out if it wasn't for him. And I don't know if I've said that already, but I'll say that here too. I made him one of the executive producers on the record because I felt like he did a lot of the facilitation of the continuation of this record without even knowing it. When I was leaving a very toxic situation on my end and the other end too, it just was all around not good. After a while, I learned to set boundaries with myself and others and to be mindful of the ways in which I show up for people and, all these different things. And that's not to make myself a victim, but that's to be very clear here that we all go through things. And I basically was at a time in my life where, my personal life, where I felt like I couldn't keep going. I had to essentially rebuild my life from the ground up, not because of anybody else, but because I had spent a few years in what I would call a la-la land, right? Investing in a different life, a life that wasn't really mine. Like I had just put mine on pause for a few years. And with the pandemic happening, as I was doing that, to be real with you, it was so easy to do that. That's a story we'll have to get into a different time. But yeah, it was very hard. But in me going through that, Solid was one of the friends that I was able to make. He and Know How. I love Know How to death. That's also family as well. But yeah, Solid was the first person to show me that we can still make music. He wanted to book studio sessions and he would have them with me, we invested in learning how to continue mixing with more state-of-the-art plugins and really continuing to achieve the sound that we already had where we were, but had to leave and make arrangements. And, he was also coming up on a very new time in his life. He had just gotten married. Like, that's a big feat, if you ask me, So his life, he had things he could have prioritized. He could have gone all in and been like, nah, it's just me and my wife, right? But he invested in his art. He invested in my art. I'm really grateful for him for that. He is the reason that I was able to continue putting out this record and continue mixing it. I didn't know how it was going to continue to get made after. I thought that I was just gonna have to let it go and continue on a new record. So much so that I actually did write a whole nother album immediately after leaving that situation at the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. And you'll probably hear a good portion of those songs still. I do love them, but yeah, they're not what Soul Glitch was supposed to do. I definitely have always had a vision, and I see why it's important for me to carry those out. And I do want to also emphasize that may be different for you here. You may be somebody who is supposed to see when enough is enough and keep otherwise. To be real with you, I probably was supposed to do that at a point. I'm just a stubborn bitch who don't mind a 5-year trip for art, in the name of art, right? Especially because like I didn't just sit in the 5 years. I made emotions. I learned. I continued to grow in my own way. I just put a pause on that project that I couldn't do right now. I think a lot of artists do that. The greats do that. The last relevant example I can think of right now off the top of my head is Jhené Aiko's Chilombo, I think. I think she said she actually had started writing Chilombo before she even started writing Trip. But Or maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was, there's an album I'm thinking of. There's an artist and an album I'm thinking of that it was like they started making, Beyonce. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's funny. Beyonce definitely made Cowboy Carter before she made Renaissance. But Renaissance came out first and then Cowboy Carter after it because she felt they needed to be, the order of things, right? The vision. Whew, man, we can get into theories about that, but my thoughts on that, because that's crazy. That's the art. The art. Yeah, no offense. It's one of my favorites. I really still want to do a music video for it if I'm being dead honest. Dead honest. So we're just going to see if I can bully solid into it. But yes, let's go over some journal questions for No Offense and the themes of that. Themes of that song are, I would say, self-assurance, dealing with criticism, and personal boundaries. So, or like setting personal boundaries. So here are 3 questions revolving around those themes. The first question is going to be, how do you handle criticism from others? Can you recall a time when you stood firm in your beliefs despite negative feedback? Okay. Question number 2. What are some boundaries you've set to protect your mental health? How do you enforce those? And mind you guys, if you have your soul work journal, you can definitely be writing these down in there. I do urge you to do that. While I'm giving you these questions here, these are exclusive to the podcast. If you'd like more journaling prompts or things that do not relate to the song specifically, you can find them at the link on the QR code if you scan that on the front of your soul work journal. If that does not work, you can, or if you don't have access to doing that right now, you can simply visit Linktree. It's not linktree.com, but it's the link.tree/RXclusive, RXCLSV. Okay. And the third question is, reflect on a time when you admitted a personal flaw or mistake. How did this honesty impact your relationships or self-perception? So how did this honesty impact your relationships and your view of yourself? Okay, the next song, track 7 on the record, is called Halfway. And this is another, okay. Like I said, you're going to hear it a lot, but I do genuinely think this is a favorite. This is a favorite, but I'm going to say this is number 2, if not 1, top 3 for sure. I love Tiana. You guys know that's a frequent collaborator of mine. She's dope. You should check out her own music. That's Tiana the Gym, okay? She's literally always dropping gems. That's not even a play or a pun. Always dropping gems, okay? But Tiana graced this track. This was the last song written for Soul Glitch, actually, because I'd always known I wanted her on the record again because I felt like it was a natural part 2 to Window, or a natural follow-up to Window, since she was one of the only features aside from Peach on that record. And that was for a reason. It's because when I had naturally planned a fucking short film for Window, I had wanted there to be this poetic section where Tiana was there. I'm still gonna do so. Oh man, now more than ever, I could probably execute these things. And that's the beauty of growth. But anyways, yeah, Tiana graced the track, had no problem, was so quick about it, so pee about it, so pee about it, so pee. How do you... I sent her the track, the beat. It was a demo, so I had literally recorded my part and wasn't no good mix on it. It was enough to get the idea out, right? Sent me it back, and she is a producer herself, so she did her own little mix on it. And I knew, I was like, okay, I gotta replicate this as best I can, because this is beautiful. I love the idea, and it perfectly encapsulated the world the way I wanted. And what's crazy is I've always gotten this otherworldly vibe from Tiana. When I first listened to her music, I think it was an EP that is not even available anymore on SoundCloud called 8102, and it was 2018 backwards. And I remember being so amazed. The tracks on there sounded so spacey, so vibey, so futuristic. And I was like, yo, this is dope. And at the time, I wasn't making that. Window was very R&B, pop, pushed for sure. But like in a very like, I don't know who you'd say, like Drake kind of way, right? In terms of like, there's a lot of pads and ambiance, melodic ambiance. With Soul Glitch, it's very electronic. There's, you're liable to hear a flanger or like, a double or tripler on it for a robot effect. There's like all this sci-fi techie stuff. But yeah, she fits into that world so well. It's like robot meets alien. It's literally so beautiful. I don't even know if she knows that I think of it that way, but like that's what I think. And I wrote that song about the situation that I was just talking about, that I was leaving. We were actually in the middle of filming Echo, and I was deciding whether it was possible, or I was seeing that it was still possible for me to continue with the record, because I had broken a hard drive, but I had found a company that would like fix it and get all your data, but you can pay them for like with a monthly plan over time. So I was like, oh shit. So I did that. It took me a year to pay it off. I'm never doing that again. Actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, I would do that again, but I would do it where I didn't take a year. I would just give them that damn money. But anyways, you can pay for that kind of stuff to get fixed. So loved that I figured that out. We were going to the studio and taking photos and recording new songs and stuff. And after leaving that situation, I wanted to write about it. So I wrote Halfway to get the anger out, the initial anger that I felt about, well, I don't even know if it was anger. I think it was, I don't know. It was definitely an aggression. I felt very much so like I wanted to reclaim my power over that situation, I felt like Soul Glitch had so many songs where Robot felt like a victim. And I was like, no, Robin is not a victim. So why would I make Robot a victim? And I shifted narrative. And I thought it was perfect to do it right before Virus, because Virus is a song where Robot, if you ask me, is essentially just saying, F it. Like, I'm just gonna go, like, crash out. I'm just gonna crash out, and I'm gonna call it what it is and say it is what it is. Hold on, gotta get the cat. Go Meek. Get down. He's like standing on the desk. He knows better. Anyways, this is getting kind of long, isn't it? Where are we at? Y'all know I can talk. Okay, yeah, we're coming up on an hour. Ooh, I'm gonna have to shorten this. Anyways, Halfway was written about that I had just left that situation and I wanted to feel empowered. And Tiana has this bad vibe about her. Yeah, I wanted it to feel like a bad song. Definitely that, especially with the line during the bridge. It's like, where it's the remix of the rewording of the pre-chorus, where it's like, am I supposed to feel bad for your loss? Guess you missed the part where I persevered, huh? Bad bitches are 1 in a million. And I mean, that's as true as I don't know. That's as real as I could have said that. So I just really love the song. It's like Robin reclaiming his power and remembering, or Robot more specifically, and remembering that, hold up. Yeah, even different and all, bullshit and all, I'm a loss. My presence will be felt. And when it's not felt, it is still felt. It's literally still felt. But all that aside, I'm happy to have recorded that song. I actually want to do a music video for that one too. If I'm being real, that'll probably happen before the No Offense video, because Tiana does videos all the time. So I just think that we'd align on schedule better for that. But yes, we'll see what happens. But yeah, the themes for Halfway, they revolve around letting go, empowerment, and emotional resilience. So here are 3 journal questions that you can write in your soulwork journal or otherwise that you can reflect on either now or later. The first question is, when have you felt the need to distance yourself from a relationship or situation for your well-being? How did you navigate that transition? The second question is, what does stepping into your power mean to you? Can you describe a moment when you felt empowered? And that's big shouts to Tiana's verse. Step into my power, I'm tired. I love it. And then the third question is, reflect on a time that you felt emotionally halfway in or out of a situation. What helped you make a decision to fully commit or leave? And that one is a very important question to me because I had to ask myself that, like, when it came time to leave, to do something different, it was ultimately me asking whether it was worth, I had to ask whether it was worth staying long term. No matter if it felt good right then, no matter if it felt good an hour from then, if it was cool most of the time or half the time, no. Anyways, the next song, track number 8, is Virus 2.0. And Virus has an extensive story, but I want to keep it short for the sake of time here since I've already rambled a lot. Virus 2.0 features Brandon Talley, but it has the musical stylings of myself and my good buddy Harold Love. Oh God, he played guitar, bass, drums on that. It's got opera vocals from the beautiful and talented Renetta Spencer, who also did vocals on my track Erase Me and my 2022 EP, iMotions. What else? Oh, my good buddy Know How helps engineer and mix that because Lord knows I couldn't. And the amazing and dope and wonderfully talented Brandon Talley is screaming on the song. And I think I want to take the time to be honest here and admit that Virus is actually a song that was born and written for another artist friend that I am no longer in contact with. But once we had kind of like just stopped talking and hadn't spoken in a while, and I had left that situation that I was leaving in the end of 2021, I had decided, I just felt the song was still we had spent so many hours perfecting that. And I performed it live on numerous occasions, you know. So I decided to rewrite the second verse, and just go ahead and still put it out, hence why it's called Virus 2.0. I also added a little rock outro because we had a rock version of the song for when I performed it live, but I felt like I didn't know if I was going to get a chance to put that version out. Fast forward to here we are, and I can guarantee you it will be out. But at the time I wasn't sure, so I put that outro there to help diversify the song, and also really just, it felt right. I don't know. It felt like really cool to envision the song in a short film, you know, the way I was seeing it, right? And then, because there's a whole music video planned for it. Whether I'll get to do it or not, I don't know, but it is already planned, wardrobe and everything. And you know, a lot of this too is really more so because since it was written, and I want to make this very clear too, the album was made and written at a time where I was at some of my lowest, emotionally, physically, personally, mentally, a lot. So a lot of the times, a lot of the projects, a lot of this record, it's really a lot of me asking, like, do I still have the emotional capacity to carry out some of these things? It's not that I'm being stopped by anybody or anything is keeping me from expressing myself. It's me, right? I have to go back to a certain space emotionally and mentally to perform these songs in a specific way, in a way that conveys the original messaging it was supposed to have. And I'm still trying to figure out if I have that, if it's even worth doing that, going back that far. So there's that. So yeah, Virus 2.0 is a song that's written as like the climax of the album. It's supposed to be the turning point where Robin is like now understanding like he has autonomy. Whether that means he has to like show people he has autonomy, he has it and he needs to assert it. No one is going to give it to him. In fact, it's going to be quite the opposite. And I decided to use that autonomy to call out some toxicity amongst, you know, whatever it is that Robin's facing. At that time, because of the pandemic, I think it was natural to call it a virus. But, ironically, even in the music video that I have planned, and in the short film in my mind, it is very much so still a virus. I'm not fighting other people, other robots. I'm fighting this plague that has continued to exacerbate the brainwashing of my robotic people. I don't like that, right? And I want to do something about it, so I'm calling this virus out. I'm trying to do everything I can. But the thing about it is, you can't really fight a virus. You don't fight it. You treat it. You cure it. Like a sick one, like actual virus and all that stuff. But you can't fist fight a virus. I can't just go and slap that upside the head because I'm upset. I can't do that. It's patience. It is this. So virus, in this ironic way, is like me throwing punches at the air. It's how I think of it now. But no, in actuality, it's me asserting my independence, using my voice, screaming. Hence why I use Brandon. He is a perfect element and highlight of that emotion, of what it feels like to feel confined. Oh God, I felt so confined in the space. I remember when I was recording, I'm in this booth, all the lights are off, and I'm screaming. I'm trying to hit notes. My voice is lesser developed at this point, and I'm singing in a way that's not typical for me, so I'm trying to make sense of it. So I'm in there, I'm having a hard time, but I'm doing what I can. Virus, I'm doing all that, right? But virus feels very like that. Like it felt very timid. I wanted to scream it. I wanted it to be attitudinal, if that's the word. And I don't know, I get overtaken by this energy. I finally just close my eyes and I try to flash back. Hence why I think I have the rock version of it, and it was so natural. It was such a natural thing. I literally tried to channel back to when I was younger and I had a rock band, and I was like, do that. How would Haley Williams scream this? How would Chester Bennington do this? How would even a fucking what's the lead singer of Fall Out Boy? It's a Pat Monahan. I'm not gonna ask right now, but how would some of my favorite rock singers do this? People who can belt and scream, people who I deemed had more powerful voices than I. How would they do this? And I tried to do that in my own way. And, now I would ask how Robin would do it. The power of growth. But yeah, I remember doing that. But then naturally, Brandon, who had already collaborated with the friend who was on the original version of Virus, he had already screamed on that track. So I was like, oh, dope. It would be cool to have that same element there, especially in this melodic way. Oh man. And then Brandon giving me the background choir vocals during the second verse. He has such a beautiful voice too. That's another reason that I'm so infatuated with all the different ways in which you can use your voice and your instrument, because I can't scream like that. I try to even do undertones or growls, and it's hard for me to do that when I'm singing. I'm just now at a more mature age able to barely replicate it in my lower register, but he is screaming from his, diaphragm, chest, head voice, wherever that's coming from. And it sounds so crazy, but it's a genuine raw expression of the emotion. And God, I couldn't do that. But then he can turn around and also give me the soft, It's crazy. That was crazy to me. I'm such a fan. I'm a fan. And I think that's another thing too to note. If you are somebody who is an independent artist and you do most of the stuff by yourself, try to become a fan of the people that you work with. Don't just work with anybody. Work with people that you admire, that you are infatuated by. I love what you do, and I am just wanting to include that. That's really the common theme here. Chills Marley, Jimmy of the Saints, Brandon Talley, Harold Love, Solid SLW, Tiana the Gem. visionary. All of these different artists that were able to feature on this record, I genuinely am just a fan of the ways in which they use their voices and their talent. And I wanted to highlight that and bring that into my world. And I'm grateful that every last one of them gave me permission to do just that. And not only did they give me permission, they gave me such dope performance. What the f***? I couldn't have asked for better things. Like, that's another reason I felt I had to put the record out too. Like, look how dope this sounds, right? But anyways, Virus 2.0 is definitely my, it's like my version of Ignorance by Paramore. You know, I think of it in that way. There's an emotional darkness behind Virus 2.0 for me that I have to reconcile with. So hopefully you guys will get to see me do that on a stage over the next couple of years. But in the meantime, the themes behind Virus 2.0 are toxic relationships, self-preservation, and I would say transformation in a way. So 3 journal questions you can write down in your soul work journal around that are going to be, number 1, can you identify a relationship or situation that felt toxic? What were the signs and how did you protect yourself? Question number 2, how do you differentiate between healthy and unhealthy influences in your life? And then finally, question number 3, reflect on a personal transformation where you felt like you needed to cut ties with negative influences. What did you learn from that experience? Okay. The 9th song and the actually second to... Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I think I lied to you guys. I said we were going to do 5 tracks in this episode. We're only going to do 4. We do the last 5 in the next episode because we're going to start from 10%. So the final track here, track number 9 that we're going to do on this episode is going to be... Oh, wait, no. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's right. So this will be the last song. So track number 9 is called Pretty Boy. And you know, Pretty Boy is a song that I'm very proud of, and I resonated with extremely when I made it, but I don't go back to it often at all, actually. I think when I listen through the album, it's one of those songs that can play for me or it can go. And I think that's probably because of the growing relationship that I have with my own body. When I wrote that, it was very much for myself, for sure, but the general public and how we see and view prettiness, pretty privilege, I guess, but specifically amongst men. I think now in 2025, I can confidently say there is a definite switch or like a shift in the collective mindset around. I felt like people who looked like me, like being really skinny, very small and petite, you don't deem me a man, right? But in actuality, none of those things define me in totality, and they never have. I'm a homosexual male who happens to also... I've confused people... Well, I don't want to... Dang. These are things I have to watch how I talk about. But I'm a homosexual male who has also been told that they can't... certain people can't tell that that's the case until I... present or present in a specific way. Like, I'm comfortable with you in a specific way. Like, there's always this juxtaposition. You don't know me until you know me. You can't judge a book by its cover. It's really all I'm trying to say here. So, yeah, I feel like people looked at someone with my specific characteristics and didn't deem me a man's man because I didn't have buff muscles or I didn't look like I went to the gym every damn day. But I protect those around me as fiercely as any other. And I think I know a lot of people like that, men like that, who don't fit the traditional, pretty masculine man role. But will definitely protect their own. So yeah, I was trying to express there that I want to be more than that. I don't want to be just pretty boy. I like looking good. I like to feel good. I am a Leo moon and a Leo rising, baby. So one thing about me is I'm going to, at some point or another, analyze the way that I look and make sure that I try to keep up, And I believe in physical health. But that is not it. There's so much more. So much more. Anyways, I feel like I have been rambling for 2 hours, so let's get on with it. Pretty Boy. The themes behind that song, are body image, societal standards, and self-acceptance. I think a lot of us could use a message of self-acceptance every now and then, especially men. I really wanted to write a song that reminded us that we were young and extremely influential, or extremely under the influence when we were taught by men that looked just like us, our fathers, our brothers, our grandfathers, our peers, that this is what a man looks like. This is what it should be. This is how you present. You can't possibly protect any woman if you also want to wear nails, if you also want to paint your fingers, if you also wear makeup, if you also want to wear fabrics that are more flowy, if you also want to dance, if you also want to sing. No. Baby, I can sing this note and I'll whoop your ass too. Especially behind somebody that I love. Like, that's just point blank period. Don't ever get that twisted. So I think that's a beautiful thing to have that kind of, like, the one thing for me that I find beautiful is duality. It's like you have light and dark. You've got red and blue. You've got masculine and feminine. That is the way life is supposed to be. If you ask me, you need both. There are plenty of times when I've got an imbalance of one or the other, but it's the fact that I'm able to reach in my bag and use my resources for both that have kept me back on track when I need to be. It is not straight femininity. It's not straight masculinity. And honestly, we do need to start redefining what those mean to us. I think we as a society, and even me too, probably have such a rigid definition of those things. And I don't think it's anywhere near what we think it is. But that's a topic for another day. Here are 3 journal questions around those themes that I mentioned for your soul work journal and yourself to journal on. The first one is going to be, how have societal standards of beauty affected your self-image? What steps do you take to embrace your natural self? Question number 2, reflect on a time when you felt pressure to conform to a certain physical ideal. How did you overcome or address these pressures? And then third and finally, what does self-acceptance mean to you? How do you practice self-love in the face of external judgment? Okay? Thank you guys so much for listening. This episode was actually really fun. I know I talked a lot. I try not to ramble so much on these because I really do have to listen back to these and edit certain parts out. But I just really enjoy talking to you guys. And would you also believe I went this whole damn podcast rambling and didn't sip any bit of my water? I don't want that to be you. I urge you to stay hydrated as you talk for 2 hours. But thank you so much for listening. Once again, I am Robin, RXBYN. You can follow me and find me on everything at everywhere at RXBYN Official. That's Robin Official. You can also visit my website, robinofficial.com. If you want to see anything else that I have to offer, if you'd like any exclusive merch or music, you can also visit robinofficial.com/shop RXclusive. That'll bring you right to my Robin store. There's a lot of big things coming this year. I'm excited for 2025. I thank you guys again for being here this long, for sticking it out, and for wanting to know more. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please do leave them down below. I'd love to know what it is you guys are curious about. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to journal about? How this journey is going for you. Are you able to keep up? Is it feeling overwhelmed? Do you need some guidance? Is there any way that I can be of service to you? Anyways, I love you guys so much. Stay safe out there. There are a lot of crazy things going on, okay? If you need anything, if you need resources, reach out to me, to people that you know, people that you love. If you have nobody that you know and love, you can create community. Community is always looking for you, okay? So stay safe out there, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.